First, we're going to go to Adam Hillman at the Daily Orange.
Hey, Coach. How's it going?
Hey.
So, we saw some different looks at running back this week. We saw Jawar getting a lot of carries. We also saw, Sean Tucker. We saw Mackenzie Pierre too. What's the plan at running back? And, what did you see out of, especially, with the freshmen this week?
I think the plan is to keep playing those guys. I think that all those guys have a role. All of them are, the more they play, the better they're going to get. And I think we have enough carries to divide it between some of those guys. If somebody gets hot, we're going to go with them. We're still looking for that, 100-yard back. But we've got a long way to go before we get 100 yards, and we got to rotate those guys and keep getting them better.
Drive for Syracuse.
Next, we'll go to Matt Hausworth.
Coach, can you hear me this time? Does it sound a little better?
Barely can hear you again. Same issue.
Okay, I might have to check my microphone here. I want to ask, obviously opening up the Carrier Dome with this new roof, I guess tell me how excited you are to see this final product and be in there. I know, albeit with no fans, but it's going to be interesting seeing that new roof.
It is going to be interesting. I haven't had an opportunity to be in there since the last time we've been in there, and everyone tells me that it's going really well. I kind of have my hands full doing some other things, but it'll be really exciting, especially for the young men to finally get in there and see all the facelift things that they've done. I'm sure everyone tells me that it looks truly amazing over there.
Thanks, Coach.
Next, we'll go to Darius Joshua from Channel 9.
How you doing, Coach? Similar question to last week. What did you see now through 2 weeks of looking at film and games from the O-lineman in terms of trying to protect the quarterback from sacks?
Well, once again, I think everybody has a role. Everybody has to get better. We've had some mishaps with the line, but I think, again, if you just took it and divided everything by 3, it's still happening. The O-line has their issues, the receivers have their issues, the quarterbacks have their issues, and it's just kind of dividing up. And we're trying to eliminate one so we can focus on the next 2, and then eliminate 2 so we can get to the 1 till we can finally get going. But right now you can divide it between the 3.
And just a quick follow-up. Tommy's good to go for this week. He's healthy.
I saw him yesterday. He was in here watching tape. He looked ready to go.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll go to Mark Larson from Spectrum News.
Hey, Dino, you said last week you would wait until after the second game to see what's becoming a trend with people making mistakes. I'm interested in quarterbacks specifically. Is Tommy DeVito replaceable? Is anybody's job safe?
I think the biggest thing is, I know you guys are going to start this controversy, but the big thing is we're going to play the best guy. We're not trying not to play the best guy. We always see people on where they're going to go instead of maybe where they're going to end up. But there's no doubt that Rex has his packages, and we're going to play those 2 guys. And right now, Tommy's still our starter, but Rex has his packages, and we're going to see how they go.
Thanks, Dino.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll go to John Kikas from the Associated Press.
Hey, Coach, do you feel that, I think you said it before, but do the defenses still have the upper hand right now, and why, if that's the case?
You're talking about our defense or other defenses?
Just the defenses in general, considering what the teams had to go through in camp.
Based off of my situation, I'm going to say that, and everybody's going to say, hey, he's just going to say that. But, whether you're in spring ball, whether you're in 2-a-days, the defense is always going to start off a little bit faster. And the biggest reason is for this. It's because defensive guys can make a mistake, and you might find that mistake, and it's a wide open touchdown. There's nobody around. But normally, if you're pressuring the quarterback, there's guys open, but the quarterbacks don't see them. So therefore, the defense can make mistakes, and they can be covered up. On the offense, you need everybody working together as one. It has to be a unit. Everybody has to be on the same page. And one break in the link can stop the whole thing from moving forward. So traditionally, whether it's spring ball, 2-a-days, defense normally starts off a lot faster, unless you have a very, very experienced offense that's going to start off lightning fast.
And one other question, what kind of challenge does Georgia Tech present?
They create a lot of challenges. First of all, we're still wounded by ourselves. We need to get over our first 2 losses and get ourselves in the right frame of mind. And that started yesterday. Well, it started Saturday, but then we continued it Sunday in our team meetings. And we just got to keep chopping wood. We just got to keep chopping wood and believe in the things that we believe on and hang our hats on our fundamentals and our techniques. these guys are good, and they got a lot of confidence. They went down and beat Florida State at Florida State. We've only been able to do that once, and now they've done it once down there. And they came back and had a tough game versus a very, very talented UCF team. And, it's interesting because people think of UCF as a lower team in a lower conference, which they are. But you look at their personnel and especially their skill personnel is outstanding. And, they can match up with a lot of people with their skill. So that may be a bad loss to some people, but that's a football team a lot of people don't want to play.
Thanks, Dino. Stay safe.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll go to Dan Tortora.
Morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Dan.
Just
what vehicle is that? Every week you're in that vehicle. What vehicle is that?
That's my car. It's my Honda. So that's where I'm at.
All right, I'm
always
looking at that
traveling
hood.
around what did you say?
I said, on the ceiling, say hi, Coach Babers on there, because I'm always looking over your head on the hood. Is that a sunroof you're going to open up one of these days?
Yeah, I will. I'll do it for you next time.
All right, go ahead.
Just what you can say about, speaking of opening up, opening up this running game a little bit. Jawar Jordan Jr., as well as Sean Tucker and Mackenzie Pierre. What are you seeing from them the first couple of weeks and in practice?
They're all doing their parts. We miss, I'm not going to give you a name, but, we missed holes in North Carolina game. We missed some holes in the Pitt game. But these guys are running hard and they're young. And two of those guys are true freshmen. The really cool thing is that, one of them is going to be both of them are going to be freshmen next year, I believe. So with the new rule, so they're going to be around here a long time. And Pierre is the veteran of the group with the situation that's happened at tailback, and he's leading those guys and telling them what's going on and all that kind of stuff and making sure they're staying in the right frame of mind. I think they just got to stay with it. Obviously there's some things that we've got to correct in the offensive line and other places as well. But the way they're running the football, I'm encouraged.
And then a quick follow-up, Sterling Gilbert's a couple games in as your offensive coordinator. What's the conversation been like between you and him? What are you seeing through these first couple weeks on film?
What you got is two guys that are used to success and working unlimited hours, okay, to give the community what they deserve. And you can only change so much so fast. But Coach Gilbert's work ethic is unmatched, and we're going to get this thing done.
Thanks, Dino. I appreciate it. Stay safe.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll go to Christian de Guzman.
Coach, how you doing?
Okay, I can barely hear who's speaking.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay, I'll try to speak up a bit more. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you mentioned it before, but it's your first game in the new Carrier Dome, and unfortunately for some people, like the freshmen here at Syracuse and maybe some other younger fans, they won't get the experience of having that first game in the Carrier Dome. I want to go back to a couple of years ago when you were head coaching your first game at the Dome, and ask you what were some of your memories of that game, and what do you hope to tell the fans who won't get that first game experience in the new Dome? What are you going to tell them about what it's like to experience a game in the Dome?
Being in there with 40,000 people, 45,000 people is like being somewhere else with 90, and it is so loud. And I hope that is the correct word, the acoustics. I hope the acoustics are even better. But it's such a place where you can get a bunch of people on top of each other and make it like you're in Wolverine Stadium or somewhere, 100,000 people just going crazy because of the noise level. I can still remember the win over Clemson where the interviewer was interviewing me down on the football field with all the fans around, and literally I could not hear what she was saying, and she was practically up underneath me, and I'm like, ma'am, I can't hear what you're saying. And then she got closer, and I said, ma'am, I can't hear what you're saying. And then she got closer. I'm like, well, that's close enough. And I still can't hear what you're saying. You can't get any closer than that. But it is so loud. And I'm not sure that I can find a way to explain it to them. We just got to wait for 2021 or maybe later in 2020 where they get an opportunity to experience it themselves, because I really wouldn't do it justice. We've missed our fans. We're going to miss our home field advantage, and we're looking forward to when we get that opportunity again.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll go to Brent Axe.
Morning, Coach.
Hey,
I just
Brent.
wanted to step back to Pittsburgh a little bit And while odds were long, I was just curious why you didn't use any of your timeouts at the end of the game there.
I was going to use timeouts after the third down stop. Okay, I had two choices: either use them after every single play, which a lot of people believe I should have, or to save timeouts for what we had to accomplish. What we had to accomplish was a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, an onside kick, and then a long field goal. And long field goals on that side of the field are not easy to come by. You really got to penetrate deep. I want to say we have to go inside 30, 40, 47. We've got to be somewhere. The ball's got to be somewhere on the 30-yard line on that side to really, maybe 31, 32, to get a really good shot at a field goal where the wind swirls and stuff down there. And a lot of people don't know that, but when you've been a coach at Pitt and you've watched enough Pittsburgh Steelers games, you know where all the action is and you know where you want that ball to be kicked at. So that was the situations, and with those three situations, I thought we needed some field goals with our offense to be able to, field goals, some timeouts with our offense to be able to do that. So I was going to let the time eat on the first two plays, called timeout after the third down stop, so they couldn't run the time on the punt team, get the punt, and then have two timeouts for the offense to do something that's very difficult to do.
And my follow-up was, through two games, it's just evident the defense has really responded to Tony White's style. And, thinking would be that you're putting in a new defense, that maybe they would be thinking too much on the field, hesitant too much on the field. But it seems like the defense has really adapted quickly to Coach White's approach, even in a new style. How do you think he's been able to make that instant impact that way?
Well, I think Tony White's a good coach. And I think that he spent a lot of time. Again, I mentioned earlier, when you're on the defense, I'm not going to apologize about our defense being good. When you're on the defensive side, you can get one guy do it wrong. But if the quarterback doesn't find that one guy, then, because of effort and flying to the football, you can cover up a mistake. I think back to the Clemson game when we were moving the formation and we had somebody run right down the middle of their defense. Okay. That wasn't because the defense was bad. It's because one guy made a mental mistake and our quarterback happened to find the mental mistake and yet an easy touchdown in the middle of the defense. Those things can happen on defense, or those things can be covered up on defense. When you're on the offensive side of the ball, it's not like that. Somebody makes a mistake before the snap, or an offensive lineman or a quarterback with his reads, or a receiver doesn't get a signal, and all of a sudden everything breaks down. So you really got to have a lot of people out of the 11, 10 out of the 11, 11 out of the 11 on offense to make it work, or you could have one or two guys doing it wrong on defense. But once again, I'm not going to apologize about having good defense. I'm excited about it. I just am ready for the special teams and the offense to catch up.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Nico Tamarian.
Hey, Coach, thanks again for the time this week. And I know you've had a couple dome questions already, but I know you're a history guy, and obviously this is a historical moment for our city. People can look back 40 years ago to that first game of the Dome and tell you Joe Morris had a big day and they won and all that stuff. What does it mean for you and your players to be a part of this new, kick in this new era, be a first game under this new Dome roof?
Well, we're really excited. Actually, we're planning, unless someone tells us no, we're planning to go down there actually Thursday morning early for a practice, and to let the freshmen and the upperclassmen see it, because we don't want them to walk in Saturday for the very first time and it's like they're walking into a new venue and it's supposed to be, their home field, their home surface. So we're going to go in there and hopefully practice Thursday morning bright and early. So get the throw game, the receivers, the punt returners, the kickers, so they can see the different lighting. I'm going to be excited to see it. I'm going to probably be a little disappointed that I'm not sweating, that the air conditioning is on. That will, I won't feel good about that, but I'm sure everybody else will be extremely excited about that. And I'll be so happy that they'll be more comfortable being able to watch us when this is all over and they can get back in the Dome.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Danny Emmerman.
Hey, Dino. My question is, since the regular season began, have any players or staff members tested positive for the coronavirus, or have they had to quarantine because of potentially being exposed to it?
Okay, first of all, we're not allowed to talk about any of that stuff, but to answer your question, okay?
That's good to hear. And as a follow-up, just separately, As a coach, what are some things you can do schematically to give your quarterbacks some more time to pass?
We will, as a coach, we've got options. There's things that we can try and things that we can do. Sometimes it's on the offensive line. Sometimes that's on the receiver. Sometimes it's on the quarterback. You can do certain things to protect people. And in doing that, you're never taking any risk. And if you're not taking any risk, then you're not really pushing the envelope trying to win. It's really a balance between the two, okay, of how much risk, when do you want to risk, how much protection, and how that you want to do. Because every time you protect, if you block 7, 8, 9 guys and they rush 3, then you got 1, 2, or 3 receivers being defended by 8 defenders. It makes those windows really, really small. And now you got the quarterback holding the ball once again. So it's a balance between those two things. There's things you can do, but you've got to move it around. You just can't do one thing all the time, or the opposition will pick up on it and do the counter move that could hurt you.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We got time for 2 more questions. We'll start with Jacob Payne.
Hey, Coach, I'm just curious, what sorts of problems on offense were you anticipating heading into the year, and have the struggles on offense through 2 games surpassed what you were expecting?
Well, I've never expected anything like this. I've never been a part of anything like this. So that's the answer to your last question. You know, the first part, I think it ties into who you have available and who you don't have available, and then how you tie all that stuff together. So as the people change, or the lineups change, you have to be able to adapt and adjust. And as the injuries grow, you have to be able to adjust and adapt. And then, you know, we haven't had a situation yet like some other teams, but you know, if you happen to get somebody positive, which we haven't, you know, with the COVID, you could have them out for that as well. And I know that we've played people where certain guys haven't lined up, haven't showed up during the games for whatever the reason, because now that the ACC coaches are basically lumping in injuries and the COVID thing together, so you can't tell who has it and who doesn't have it. It's going to be extremely difficult to find out before the game who's playing and who's not playing.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Last question goes to Mark Larson.
Hey, Coach, just had one quick follow-up. But when you watch the film, and Tommy in particular, what are the biggest reasons why he's struggling?
I wouldn't say the word struggling, you did, but I think, again, it comes down to 3 things. When you have the O-line and you have the quarterback and you have the receiver, you can divide that up by 3, and it comes out that everybody's barely missing. We're barely misfiring on stuff. It looks big to everybody else. It's small to us. And we've got to take care of those little things. And if we take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves.
And how frustrating is it for you to watch your offense? You're known for offense.
You know, frustration comes with the job. The bigger thing is I'm looking for the day when we come out of the clouds, when we get our smoke, we get out of the smoke, and everybody sees what we can do and what we can be. We're excited to be playing football. We know that there's other teams that aren't playing right now, but besides being excited to play football, let's play some really good football too that we can feel good about.
We appreciate it. Thanks, Dino.